Good afternoon. This is another weekly outlook for a very interesting week. A very interesting week because of the amount of red folders that are coming into this week, back to back to back. It's massive. So let's get to it. There's a few things I realized right off the bat is that there are two equal lows that are unswept trap liquidity, and there's a very high amount of compounding orders that are buyers at those levels. So if there is a change of character, which would be breaking 7,500, if we do break 7,500, we go under 200T, which should lead into more downside into a wick or some type of sweep of this area over here between 74.20 and 73.60. That's my guess. If we do go under gamma, we will likely change the sentiment and end up in that previous range of 7,100, which I doubt is going to happen. But at the same time, you don't know what to expect from that data. It's just a lot of information coming in, and the market will run on that information. So, as far as right now, that is the area where all the liquidity is, and that we have to keep in mind. The market structure break would be under 7,500. And if we do lose those pockets of liquidity or these turns into bearish liquidity, it will likely go under 73.30 and then gamma 73.15 for more downside. So that's one thing I have realized right off the bat is the fact that the sell off did lead to a pretty significant 50% retracement shortly after into a retest of point of control into a higher high. Now, okay, cool, we are in a higher high, but at the same time, there's a potential where we could retest 74.80 as far as a liquidity sweep. So keep that in mind for the SP 500. I will update those levels as I do every Sunday into Monday morning. These are from last week, which ended up being quite significant, especially that upper daily. Yesterday was a retest. It was a nice opportunity here into some chop, but ultimately it was a few hours of very nice liquidity and compounding into a higher high. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Same thing with NQ. NQ's been way stronger than ES, obviously, because it's driven by tech and the crazy boom of AI that is to continue. I still have in mind the same principle. So if we do break that 29,750, 760 area, that will be a break of structure that will be valid because that will be one break, two break, and then the third break will be the market structure break, which then we should see ourselves below 200T, and then the gamma is right there at 29,500. So anything below, we'll probably going to retest 29,290, and then inside that previous consolidated range. That's still something very possible, especially since the 50% retest is gamma. So expect gamma to be retested if there is volatility coming in. That being said, I am looking at a few name. SMCI, crazy consolidation into the fact that it is still below 200T on the daily time frame. It's still below it. Like that's what blows my mind is it's still below. It absolutely exploded from the point of control. I can see 57.34 for another retest. And I mean, it keeps retesting those range. At some point, it's going to have to go above because it's been under for an entire year. So at some point, it will explode above. and you could probably expect a higher high at 124 or 150 even. So keep that in mind. The earnings haven't really been that great, so it's consolidated, but all of this is compounded interest, and the interest is very bullish. So as far as am concerned, this is going to be uh, definitely going for 200T. Great opportunity here, and then probably retest that resistance at the top here. So keep that in mind. Palantir, same deal. It is under 200T. Traumas are very, very, very tight, but at the end of the day, the amount of volume shows that the buyers came in, which should lead to higher, higher price. I would see 180, possibly 190, 200-ish, maybe a higher high of 27. But at the same time, it needs to close above 200T. It needs to close above the two traumas, even though this is more likely bearish. At the end of the day, if it does pull back, we'll have probably a significant pullback at 142, catch some liquidity, which would be 50% of the range or thereabout. Yeah, it would be 50% of that previous range. So previous day low. There's potential bounce over here. Cat sweep all of this, grab some of this, maybe 130, 140, and then pop back up. So that's a target here, definitely. For some short, I mean, granted, there might be short over here, but there's still a pretty significant range of 15% right there in the middle. Great opportunity for Palantir. Uh, Interesting. Robinhood, that has already closed above. It's basically what Palantir is about to do, but he already done that. So same principle. Target up there is 22% chance that we are going for that resistance over here uh, for a 22% chance of growth. So there's going to be quite a good opportunity over here as well, coming right for earnings, which is next month, but they still have a whole month to push, and also unswept equal highs at 124, which is the target. The ultimate target is up here, so that's great opportunity over here. And the fact that earnings are coming, it's going to ramp up. Though those candles are so clean, full bodied candle, very bullish, rising volume. This is probably one of your best opportunity here because of the rising volume and the rising price. It shows bullishness to a very, very significant extent. Figma, relatively brand new. It is breaking out of the point of control 2228. It's if you do trend line this stop right here, it has broken above the trend line. Volume comes in, rising volume, breakout, all bullish liquidity, earnings coming in September on the back of very, very, very amazing earnings. I mean, it's almost 60% or a surprise. So there's some potential here. First target 32, 33, and then second target would be 40. And I would say max target would probably be somewhere in the 53 range. I would still hold for a little bit more, but ultimately this could be possible of $71. Beautiful, beautiful downtrend that turned into consolidation, a lower low, under over into a breakout of point of control right before earnings. This should kick off and continue kicking off. Minimum is 45 to me, 45, 46 to me. It's a great opportunity here. Dell, absolutely crazy, just insane. I don't even know what to do with this because it's just it's absolutely crazy. There's not much. I mean, you have to go almost in the weekly time frame. It's a straight up. There's going to be some type of consolidation. Obviously, I mean, previous month high might be retested at 220 for a beautiful entry. It's going to have to compound liquidity before it continues. But again, you had an under over and then the retest of the major order block, which got all the liquidity needed to push insane amounts. So I would expect some type of gap retest for Dell. The target is 476.67. There is a chance of going there if the tech is continuing, especially on the back of going into their earnings in September. So just be careful with this one. Retest definitely, somewhere there about maybe a retest, yeah, 260, 265, somewhere there. The traumas are tightening. At some point, it's going to consolidate, create another order block, and then kick off. We'll see the reaction, but the volume is ramping. The action, the price action is ramping. This is very bullish. I would not short this. I would wait for a retest and then get in. Microsoft under over exploded above 200T. Beautiful candle. I mean, it's almost actually is almost. I mean, if it didn't have this bottom wick over here, that would be a massive daily Maribozu. I mean, all of this is bullish, right? So ultimately, I'm definitely seeing 475, 505. If there's a retest, it's going to be a retest of 430 or even a retest of 422 into more upside going into earnings, of course. So yeah, 475, 506 our target, and then you have unswept equal highs at 488. I could possibly just take profit at 488 and call it a day. It's a beautiful trade waiting to happen. Nvidia is, see, that to me is a little worrisome, but at the same time, it's just normal coming from a stock that is just absolutely bonkers. Earnings were great, but the sell-off happened because is this the head of a head and shoulder? We need more data. The neckline would be over here at 195. Could we go to 195 as a retest or maybe 205 and then flip? There's potential here. It needs to hold 209. Otherwise, it might go, well, yeah, 195, if not 186. But the neckline is at 195. So that's a good potential for retest and purchase. That being said, again, earnings coming in August, a little further out, but at the end of the day, consolidation led into a breakout. The breakout was retested, and then uh, we shot for the sky. So really, we need to see what the reaction at that 210 level. If this is complete support, volume should follow up. But the um, the downside I see is the spike in volume, the bearish spike in volume. So that could be a retest for the lows. If Nvidia does fall, obviously the entire sector is going to fall, right? So keep in mind that's probably your best stock to look at. If Nvidia fails to create a higher high or break out of that uh, of that support, it will retest support, fail, and then start falling. The whole sector should follow through with a retest, and that would just really give everybody a good opportunity to buy at discount. So keep that in mind. Google, beautiful consolidation here after ramping. Dividends usually will bring some volume. Obviously, there are going to be some buyers that are going to want to get in and or sell shares. So if they do sell the share after dividends, 365 would be a retest. The traumas are not really tight either. They're getting tight, but they're not at the point where it looks like this. So that consolidation is just it's the start of a consolidation. You really want the 200T to flatten, and then there's the 50 and 220 to extend just so like this into a lower low and a retest. Lower low should fill the gap. 200T is right in the gap. It kind of makes sense for it to, if Nvidia fails, then Google will go and retest that gap over here and retest 200T. So that would be a buy opportunity over here if there is a volatility spike in the entire market. But ultimately, that's a nice consolidation. It did wick above, it swept the highs. So ultimately, is this a swap or a draw? If it's a draw, it's going to bounce off support. If it's a swap, it's going to create a lower low into the gap. And 350 is target for 365, 350 is target for retest. BBAI, under over. I mean, you can almost call this a head and shoulder right before earnings. Lots of buyers. These are probably stop loss. So ultimately, I would expect somewhere in the 585 range, maybe 712. It is on the back of AI, so ultimately it's gaining ground. It has gained ground before. There's a very high possibility that it will continue its breakout of support. So don't expect a higher high, but definitely expect $6 into $7 right before earnings. Meta, same deal, under over. With there's two different shoulders. I mean, granted, it keeps retesting POC whenever it does, but it did create a lower low. So ultimately, that lower low is going to lead into higher low. If this is a clean higher low, which looks like it, island reversal, this should cause a higher high. It is still under 200T. It is 20, 50, 200. That's bullish to me. Lots of bullish liquidity over here. 609 should hold into 700, 705, 717. We should definitely see some highs over here if there is no retest of value low at 560, 580-ish. I don't expect it to create a lower low, but at the same time, expect some type of retest into liquidity so it could sweep all of that and whoever missed the trend. That is what I am watching for this week because that's just what the market is giving me as far as tech side. I did hear about IBM. IBM has been on a rampage on the back of multiple deals. Lots of liquidity was swept off of the low. It did not lower low, but it did re-swept the area where it kicked off almost 55%. So it's already at 41%. Whatever happens at this order block over here is really going to give you a sentiment. There is a spike of volume, so this could be really a reversal coming in, but at the same time, those are clean candle and it's an absolute ramping volume, right? So if this is a spike, it's going to reverse over here. If not, it's going to close above, retest, and then launch for a higher high right before earnings, obviously in July. So that's another stock to keep your eyes on. Other than that, the VIX has been in a downtrend, very clean downtrend. If it closed under 1510, we're golden. Markets is everything is going to go for a ramp again. Uh, you can't really, like, we're under 200 on the daily, so ultimately expect bullishness. But at the same time, I would be very, very careful and attentive because it does not usually stay that low for a long period of time, right? At some point, that 20T is going to retrace with the 200, and then it's going to cross, and then now we're going to get some ramping volatility. Price is going to close above, or VIX is going to close above, and then lead into another spike. It could there be a spike to 2025? Yes, that's very possible in the coming couple months. Yes, 100%. I say by August we're going to be in the 20, for sure. I'm pretty confident on that. But as far as right now, it needs to break above 1640. And if it does break below 1510, we are going to, we can expect maybe somewhere 12, 11-ish in that area. So consolidation over here. Dollar keeps weakening. Either it holds this ground and this is a higher low. If it is a higher low, then dollar should spike up. I don't really see any lows here because that looks like a clean higher low. And then if this holds up, it's going to come back up to $100. That will apply pressure to the market and lead to some downside. Same with SPY, right? I mean, SPY 716, 734. These right here are not swept. So if SPY loses 755, you can expect some type of downside. It just it once it closes above 20T, it just ends up going for a either a lower low or a higher low. But at the same time, I think 750 is going to be a retest. 747. If we go below 747, obviously we're going 735, 737. And then if we are going here, they're likely going to cause a lower low somewhere and sweep this equal low at 730. So keep in mind. I will again update those levels once the London session starts on Monday. QQQ, crazy, crazy, crazy ramp. There's just absolute bonker rally. Can't really go wrong with that. But at the same time, same thing here. You have equal lows. There's a potential for 725 retest. 725 retest. The 200T should flatten over here, and then the retest should either go under, close under, fill up gaps, maybe retest 709, grab some liquidity below, and then obviously that would be ahead. The lows would go somewhere in that range and then cause another high, which would be a lower high into a right shoulder. That would be head, left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder somewhere over here in June. So keep that in mind. We are at resistance. We need to close above. We need to continue forming higher highs to really show that the price is continued bullishness. Beside that, the MAG 8 ETF is on a rampage, but it did close at the previous swing high, so that is just neutral. It's not showing me any downside or any upside. It's showing me neutrality. It's showing me that it's running out of gas. You have a spike in volume. The spike in volume led to multiple downside most of the time as soon as it forms some type of neutral candle and it leads into a lower low. So could there be a lower low? Could there be a retest of the 3,000 mark? Could it be a retest of the 2,900 mark? That we will have to see uh, for data. So the keep in mind the volume. These spikes are very important because ultimately that leads to a reversal. So something to definitely Keep in mind, I mean, look here, right? Like that bearish spike, reversal, upside, bullish spike. I think we're looking at a reversal. I think we might get a retest, and the data is just going to come in really hot, and the data is going to give everybody a very good opportunity to come back into the market. Beside that, same thing here. Doji, DRAM is as pushed. It's higher high. There's just like these highs are the spike of what I think is the top. I mean, this is a divergence. Price action ramps up and then the volume just dries out, right? So there's a divergence over here. The divergence correlate the whatever I just said about the other stocks. They have spikes. They look like they there could be a potential reversal. So I'm expecting a reversal. I'm expecting I have my bias, what level to break for me in order to buy and just hold. At the same time, I think there's signs that we might get some volatility from all this data coming in these red folders. And I like as an investor, I would take profit. Like I would just be smart and take some profit. You're at all-time high for Christ's sake. Like take some profit, put some trailing stops, and just get kicked out of the market if the pullback is significant. You're not losing anything. We've been pushing all-time highs for almost 2 months now, right? So at the end of the day, just keep in mind you're at the top, euphoria's here, but at the same time, there's dangers here that could lead to retests. So other than that, that is it for the weekly outlook. I hope you guys are safe and that you're playing defensive through this madness because it is all-time high.